These ancient buildings I see build in my head in structure in artillery absent of lead. With the strength of 1,000 celestially proficient men, man, I can feel the strength of a Mexican. This air feels like home. It greets my lungs as if it were its throne. My legs and feet seem to know that I've walked on this earth before. And the window to life seems to witness people who resemble me. Their complexion complements my intention, and their language resonates in my body. I feel like we are one. But where am I from?
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Alicia Chavez, and I am a Master's of Community and Regional Planning scholar. I am in District 2, and I'm from New Mexico forever, forever. For almost 2 years, our community has come here to argue against this development based on the protection of the reality of our land and water. The stewardship and protection of our land and water is tradition here in New Mexico. I want to share with you some principles rooted in the legacy of resiliency on these lands. What we are doing right now, is Resolana, the act or place of communicating ideas, stories, community expertise, el oro de barrio. All of it to find an agreeable outcome, form our morals and values as a community. This is one of many places that happens and has been happening generationally. I'm sure all of you can think of a time where you gathered with friends, family, and community and learned something through conversation. It is these conversations that are understanding and hopefully a deep love for the place that we live is grown. Querencia, a deep connection to place, a place from which one's strength of character is drawn, where one feels at home.
For me, I grew up here in Mexico and in Albuquerque, and so I have this like intimate, personal relationship with the land because I grew up with the landscape, just experiencing the sunrises and sunsets. So it's more of like understanding the spirituality of caring for the land, for the animals, and also for yourself. So it's just like developing that sense of love from where you're from and the land and everything that's living around you. So to me, Querencia is that, just that natural love for the place you live in.
We understand it and we have that deep motivation to get there. We love what that vision holds for us. That to me is Querencia. It's even like holding the future of what your community looks like, and that's today. Being real about what it is, where we're starting, being real about that. Mutualismo, a responsibility to one another, earth, plants, animals, and water.
I agree. I think it's right now in this society, we always think of how can we be more independent? How can we do things on our own and be successful with it? And being exposed to Resolana, Querencia, Mutualismo, and also this governance within the community, it's made me realize that this is a system that will allow the community to come together, and by that, it would create a greater energy and become stronger. So we're not powerful as one, like individually, but together as one, we're more powerful as a community. And so I think if we tie back into that, it'll be very beneficial. I've been practicing it, and I feel more connected with my people, with my culture, with my values. And I think that's incredibly important. And it's a movement that I think will continue because, as you said, Jorge, once we understand how we're living and we just do it for ourselves, people see it around you and they also want to follow because we have this vision for ourselves, and it's very inspiring for people to see it around you. So I think that this governance system, this framework of a community, will strengthen that system.
So how do we ensure that legacy, though? I mean, in a time when it seems that technology is pulling us apart tremendously, and our younger people are more preoccupied with new devices, computers, video games, and all of that. How do we go back to that? How do we go back? How do we reconcile the present and the technologies used and will not change with the actual implementations of systems that are very tied to the land?
Self-governance, empowerment, decision-making, and managing community assets.
In the water to be able to feed themselves. But I think that in New Mexico, the question about self-governance comes down to the legal aspects of land and water contained within acequia laws. The role of the mayordomo, the way an acequia is formed for a group of people to maintain the management of the flow of water to their homes, the application of constitutional rights that people still have based on, like the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, the provisions that were created to maintain the resources that people had, you know. And in this, at least here in New Mexico, when we talk about resources, we talk about land and water, growing food, having animals, you know, having a way of life. And so self-governance goes not only to that desire of maintaining an asset or natural resource, or even a way of life, but enforcing a constitutional right that people inherited through the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo initially, and then eventually how it all came to be part of the also the Constitution of the United States.
How can we strengthen the movement building that we're doing, the community building that we're doing, so that we can realize the communities that we want to see together at the intersections of our work, so that everyone's ideas are represented. And so I started looking for that answer. And when I got involved in CESOS, I was given the time and the mentorship and guidance to go deeper into that question. And as I was in CESOS, I was also in a class called Rural Community Development with Professor Jose Rivera, and he assigned us a paper of his that he wrote with some other people around the mutualism in northern New Mexico societies. And that paper talked about acequia societies, the religious societies, the fraternal societies that exist in northern New Mexico and other places like southern Colorado and the rest of New Mexico as well. But what I saw in this paper and what he was talking about, the societies that he was talking about, was people intentionally coming together for survival, to combat land robbery, to combat colonization, and to empower their people. And he used the word mutualism or mutualismo throughout the paper to describe what they were doing. And I was inspired. It was such an incredible thing to see people from this land, from New Mexico, that many of us are related to, that are from New Mexico, working in this way.